Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Bounce Comparisons Podcast. Now, today's topic, I want to go ahead and basically generally talk about the AFL MVP award. And this award has seen some people that deserve the award and some people that went ahead and didn't deserve it. Now, for me, I've seen basically this award being passed down since season 8, and there was some times that this award should have gone. Like twice, out of those 3 seasons, I've fully witnessed. There were only 2 awards that didn't go out to the proper person. Now, I wasn't able to collect any interviews and all that stuff, but I decided to go ahead and basically just go about what I have. So, I'm just gonna go ahead. Just gonna roll with the flow, and So first of all, before we also go ahead and start, make sure you guys go ahead and you drop a subscription. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. We're gonna go ahead and basically revamp this from the GBC Sports Round eventually. We're gonna rebrand it because no one's really hiring up and we're not really getting anything done. So yeah. So either way, let's go ahead and go to the first time it was awarded. Now, the first MVP award was handed out in season 1. When it was the very first season, and the award went ahead and went to Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Kelvin 5. Now, Kelvin that season had basically one of the best seasons that an MVP had. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, he didn't lead the league in passing yards. That's just straight up literally. Pratt had 4,000 passing yards. Ejim had 3,000 passing yards. And there wasn't even another dude that went ahead and he also had 3,000 passing yards. But Kelvin went ahead and he won it going ahead and recording. Basically, having a somewhat impressive year. 65% completion percentage with 3,064 passing yards, 47 touchdowns against 4 interceptions. And this was on a Jaguars team that went ahead and they went ahead and they balled out. They went ahead, made it into the playoffs with the surprising record. Well, not really surprising, but the impressive record of 9-3. Surprisingly, not beating out the Texans for the top spot and for the top seed. They make it. Oh, Calvin was inactive during the wild card game, during round 1, which they easily beat the Broncos 38-22. And they will advance on to the AFC Championship game to face the Texans once again. Now, this is a preview, as Kyrecha was actually, believe it or not, playing in that game. He was the Texans QB. But he was under a different name at that time, so I had to go ahead and get more info. So it was basically Kyrecha versus Kelvin in a interesting battle. Well, Kelvin ended up going ahead, and he ended up winning in a game that went into overtime. The game was just that big of a power show. These sides, they literally couldn't handle. Like, I don't even know how you can really just explain this. Like, seriously, like, how the heck are you able to go ahead and just manage this game? Really got to go ahead and go to and really take myself back in time to that game. And man, like, this game literally could have. I mean, it could have been played better, but I don't even know how you can even go and explain this game. Because, I mean, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Kairetsu went ahead, he played a good game. As he basically led a Houston attack that basically, they had some good players of their own. They had Tom. Okay, they had like X-Cat, they had two Raptor Claws, Jake Greenway. Especially X-Cat, because that guy will actually later go ahead and evolve and change his name to his current name, the Eastbrook. Like I said, both of these QBs, they played literally lights out. Even DF01 Parker, like, this game was literally just a battle to see who was a true one. And to be honest with you, Calvin even got, but Jacksonville literally couldn't have won this game because this was possibly one of the more games that Calvin went ahead and he had struggled in. I mean, Calvin went ahead and at that point went ahead and put up some very great games, a very impressive game up to that point. And he was literally the man. But Jacksonville ended up getting lucky. As pretty much they were down in a comeback situation 30-14. And Calvin was going to have to go ahead and start leading a comeback. And right away, he had to go to work. I mean, for Calvin, he had guys such as, he had Height, he had Rocky, he had Gersall, he had Tonto, and he also had YTJY, who basically was a guy that could have won wide receiver of the year, but he didn't actually get it. But he was literally the go-to guy for Calvin. And of course, in that game, they went ahead and when I meant they went to work, I mean they went to work. Calvin, he was trying to dime, he was trying to make plays, he was trying to make those reads. And well, yeah. This came to a point that you just had to wonder, was this, like, if you actually got to watch that game, it was just literally, there was like literally no way Calvin could have won this one. But he did. I mean, he did. As literally, as if he went ahead and in that game, he ran ahead and ran it 3 times. Yes, I'm saying he ran it. Okay, he didn't really run it 3 times, but he literally had 3 rushing touchdowns in that game. Like, literally, all the Jacksonville scores up to that point were just basically all Kelvin. And well, in a situation, but then the comeback even got closer because following the 2-point try, which Jacksonville converted, down 30-22. Kyretra, he still had his team. And of course, and they actually went ahead and they drive down the field, made the reads. But bad luck went ahead and struck when a fumble went ahead and just ruined it. Like, the pass was so good. It was just they got so unlucky. So Calvin had to lead a 94-yard touchdown drive to come back and win it. Now this is like basically you can call what AFL's version of the drive. I mean, if John Elway could have led ahead and led a touchdown drive to help the Broncos get to the Super Bowl, this is just the drive. Calvin went ahead and he showed his precision that went ahead and helped him made an MVP, following a 2nd and 6 by throwing a good completion that got Jacksonville out to the 39. And then he literally went ahead, scrambled around and looked. I mean, he basically looked and he literally just completed his passes, made those throws, was just pretty much very consistent. And yes, and of course, a few plays later, Calvin went ahead and he threw a touchdown. And that ended up going to Rocky. And this one was just a very good one. Jacksonville went ahead and they got lucky a little bit. But we're not going to talk about luck. This is a game of skill. So yeah, Calvin went ahead and he basically led an absolute comeback drive. But now in a situation like this, he went ahead and he threw it. But now it was basically trying to go ahead and make it a possible win. They tried to go for the onside, but Houston went ahead and recovered. And they had a shot. And Kyretch was making reads. He was trying to go ahead and lead his team down the field. And this was one of those last shot plays. It was basically Kyretch just scored now, or he also scored never. Game on the line in the 4th quarter. Kai dropped back. He looked for his receiver. But unfortunately, an incompletion happened. And that would go ahead and result in with the team. That ended up being Kyrich's last play of the day, as Houston never got onto the field on defense in overtime. I mean, never. I mean, to be fair, Kyricho went ahead and he had a good game. 18 for 24, 135 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I do apologize if I am wrong there. It was a game of, Houston went ahead and battled for it, but Jacksonville they went ahead and he led possibly one of the best comebacks ever. And in overtime, Calvin got to work. He went ahead and he made good plays, good reads. And everyone literally just recognized it. And of course, the most important play of the game went ahead and came on a 1st and 10. Up to that point of the game, Calvin was just an arm machine. So you can basically describe this play as this. So on a 1st and 10 at the Houston 14, Calvin went ahead and he dropped back, scrambled around, talked to his blocks, looking for a receiver down the field, and he went ahead and he threw a pass to YTJY. little to known to people at the time. This connection will basically be seen in the Super Bowl eventually, that helped Jacksonville go ahead and win it. Either way, Kelvin went ahead and he threw a pass. TJ catches it, an easy touchdown. And they went ahead and came back. And honestly, Jacksonville had the right to go ahead and talk all the trash that they wanted. I mean, that would go ahead and wind up sending Jacksonville to the Super Bowl. Calvin finished that game 18 for 29, 2 touchdowns, 396 passing yards against 1 interception. The next game, however, he gets into a heated, heated battle with Aggie Fuse, and they're off. I mean, to be fair, Aggie Fuse offense literally was known for going ahead and milking a lot of clock. That was basically how they rolled, and good defense on him and helped them propel themselves into the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, the other team basically went ahead and you saw pretty much a team of guys that basically had know what to do. I mean, entering this game, this was pretty much a test of if Kelvin can oversee, can go ahead and play that quick, fast-paced game like he always did. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, Calvin went ahead and he came in the game. And the game basically was pretty much a test of it all. I think it's safe to say that it was just basically that game. I mean, the Vikings had V. Tyler, Nick Honor, Adge Defuse, J Fish, Keymaster, AO Oof. But once again, Jacksonville had once again a chance to go and do it. And I'm gonna show you guys fair. This game was a game of comebacks, and honestly, it was just a game of battling hard to the finish. And luckily, while Jacksonville basically had a plan to contain Adjefew's running, they forced him to throw a lot. And he went ahead and he threw basically for over 4 touchdowns, going 16 for 24, 234 yards, 4 touchdowns against 2 interceptions. Most people will just give up at the stat line. And it looked like basically Jacksonville was going to go ahead and lose out this one. And my alarm went and sent there. But either way, in a situation like this, Calvin knew what to do. He did it once before. He was going to do it again. And Calvin led possibly one of the greatest game-winning drives in history that involved a passing touchdown. I mean, this proved me right. This was like basically a version of Super Bowl 7. Like, it was a high-scoring bout. It wasn't basically one team. It wasn't a lopsided victory. That's just basically it. and Calvin went ahead and pretty much drove Jacksonville all the way out, and basically in a situation that pretty much a comeback was going to be possible. He goes ahead and he first went for one final run just to go ahead and take a last desperate measure. And of course, a play happened, and Calvin, running for his life, throws it to YTJY once again, and TJ went ahead and walked in. And before it was too late, Jacksonville went ahead and he already scored again. Calvin finished that game 17 for 26 with 397 passing yards, 4 touchdowns against 1 interception, putting up basically a good game. And after that, Jacksonville went ahead and had the chance. Plus that game ended up going. Plus that ended up going ahead and tying up the game. The game winner with 2 seconds on a 2-point conversion. Rocky went ahead and he iced up the game. But Minnesota had the last chance to go in and get it. But we spent a lot of time talking about Kelvin in this one. I'm just going to make this a long story short. Jacksonville will go ahead and end up getting the win and win Super Bowl 1 by a score of 36-34. And that was basically a caliber season for the MVP. Now next, we're going to go ahead and go to the second MVP to win the award. And that, of course, was the Lord Pred. Now everyone's just going to be figuring out how the hell did the Lord Pred go ahead and win MVP. To be honest, I don't even know. It's just even I don't know how he won MVP in that season, but he did put up. But despite the fact that he didn't, I was trying to figure out how he put up a good season. He did go ahead and he served himself well. A good season. 33 touchdowns against 9 picks. Was a very accurate QB. Went ahead and he overcame a blowout loss in week 1 to go ahead and make it to the Super Bowl. Where this time he took on when he went, he took on Kyretra. But this game was more of a defensive shootout than it was an offensive game. And in the end, this was a game that went ahead and saw 2 QBs go at it. Pred was a good QB. No doubt about it. But once again, he also went ahead and he also had Cactus Jack Math as a receiver as well. So that's also something to go ahead and worth noting. Meanwhile, the Seahawks they had a few guys of their own: Phantoms, Kiak, Ventrix, Michael, Odebrizi, Platt, not Calvin, but they also had Kyretra, Refrigerator Perry, Eve, and luckily I have some other sources. They even went ahead and they had Ozzy, and they also went ahead and also had Eddie during that Super Bowl. Well, they're not during that Super Bowl, but yeah. Okay, yeah, they did. So I went ahead and he made it. Basically, he's trying to show what a legend he could be. Now, in the end, and I'm just gonna insist short. This was a season Super Bowl went ahead and turned out a bit different to some other people. Okay, I'm not gonna sugarcoat everything, but to make a long story short, the Jets really, both teams really went ahead and held each other in check. Retro milked a lot of clock. And well, needless to say, it wasn't really just much. It was just basically a game of just chewing on the clock. Both sides just really didn't do much. I'm sorry. It's just I couldn't really take this game seriously after that. And eventually, the last pass that was thrown was just basically just Kai Richard throwing a toss up that Math intercepted, but he ended up getting tackled. In the end, game was over, and the Jets went ahead and lost 24-20. Yeah, it was just awkward. I couldn't dissolve it. Anyway, it's on to the next season, which was which was once again season 3, and which saw basically a rookie QB win MVP. Yes, I'm talking Def ATL went ahead, he won MVP that season. I mean, it was basically one of the easiest seasons for him. Like, it was just a walk in the park. He basically had 43 touchdowns against 18 interceptions. Like, he was clearly the best QB in the league. I mean, no one can compete against him. Like, Sean HTX could have. I mean, Ejim, Tyler, Agidifuse, Zoms, Kyretra even played a little bit. But Kyretra went ahead and he didn't really remember going ahead and playing that season. So, that's kind of awkward, but hey. And of course, who can forget? Freaking Pure Wyvern on the Steelers. It did this. Oh my gosh. I cannot take this game. Like, this season, I can't really take. I can't take some seasons seriously, but like, if you let Pure Wyvern, a guy that threw 16 interceptions with 37, I mean, not, with threw 37 interceptions the season prior, you're just bound for disaster. Like, he retired a meme. Okay, I'm laughing. I'm just laughing. I couldn't take this game seriously, okay? I couldn't take it seriously. But in the Seahawks, well, they had basically went ahead and basically had two different QBs, as they had Santarelli and Ejax going ahead and playing those two roles. So, I mean, some of y'all are gonna be wondering, who was Santarelli? Now, luckily for me, I went ahead and I did look up for y'all. And that guy would just, well, okay, yeah, he literally just disappeared right off the map. What the heck? Oh. Either way, he went ahead and he also kept this in the season as well. So, yeah. either way, season one had went out to be planned. Def won MVP. Shonix team, and to be fair, the competition for this one was a bit more better. I mean, Texans went and had the better record. They went 7-3. Chargers went 7-3. The Ravens with Aggie Fuse went 6-4. Tyler with the Vikings went 6-4 as well. Kai and the Steelers, they went 6-4 without much of a good QB, so I can't blame them. But I don't even know how. I'm just still trying to laugh. I don't even know how the Browns made it into the postseason when the quarterback threw 19 touchdowns against 26 interceptions. But hey, it happened. I can tell you something else. Reese went ahead and he also went and tried to go and play some QB time as well. So okay, so yeah. Other than that, I mean, I could find out what happened in that Super Bowl. Also, Pride went ahead and he also got in some time to himself. As he went ahead, in one notable matchup, we really just saw JB Hunters taking on Pride. I mean, honestly, the Patriots franchise in AFL, it's always been a fluke, to be honest with you. I don't even have to go ahead and sugarcoat it with lemons. There's no point sugarcoating something that isn't worth it. And that's just pure honesty. I can't sugarcoat it. There's nothing I can really do. But Pride went ahead and he did come back. And he did QB for the Eagles. And Philadelphia actually made it into the playoffs with a 6-4 record. So, and that was arguably one of Pred's best seasons. Well, he didn't see much starting time. I mean, I can't blame him because the situation he was at the time, according to him, he was having parental issues, So I can't really blame him. So, in his defense, yeah. But either way, Def went ahead and he led the Chargers to the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. And once again, that was just a game that was a game that was just shaken completely. Chargers winning 36-20. Next season, we move on, and that ended up going ahead and seeing for the first time in league history, the MVP did not go to a quarterback. And you're gonna be wondering, wait a second, how come the MVP didn't go to a quarterback? I thought MVPs always go to quarterbacks or running backs. Well, that's how it's supposed to be working. So I guess. But either way, the MVP didn't go to Def ATL. I mean, Def and Kai Retro were like the top QBs in the league. Tyler, Pred, Hunter CLX, Reset, Reese, Udon. Like, oh yeah, even Beast QT even got in the mix. Edge Defuse, Rally QB'd a little bit. But it's young Rally, we already know sometimes. Calvin went ahead and he served as a backup QB. So yeah. But anyway, the MVP didn't go to pretty much Kyretra or Def. The MVP was winding up turning out to be Kodak Wyron. And Kodak had a good season. 68 catches, 1,533 yards, 26 touchdowns. But another reason why he also won MVP was the fact he recorded 15 interceptions. Like, 15 picks. Kyrich, which led the league. Like, oh gosh, it led the league. Like, I am pretty much very impressed. Other than that, it was just, and believe it or not, the top two QBs in the league, Kai and Def, faced off in the Super Bowl, and Kodak in that season 4 Super Bowl, the fans actually were in for a treat of a game. Like the game was just really just that good. I can just be honest with you. It was just the game was just that good. And well, in this game, it pretty much was one of the most high scoring games. I have to go in and just give a shout out. It was a good game. No, look at one hand I did find the Super Bowl, and it was like I said, it was one of the best games in the league, and it was a nighttime game, and Kyretra went ahead and he battled it out with them. Now, the game went ahead and was basically a game of just ferociousness. It was just you had to go ahead and you just got to admit, Def led a good squad, but when you really expected a pass, which was basically was a sellout part, was when Def went ahead and he threw an interception that was dropped by Spad, picked off by Gers, and Gers had a nice return and may have possibly set up Seattle for the comeback win. And well, this was basically a game to basically just decide out the winner. And Kai went ahead and he got to work on the game-winning drive. And it's safe to say, and to make a long story short, that the Seahawks would go ahead and wind up winning that Super Bowl. And to be fair, it was a very good Super Bowl, but unfortunately, Sides didn't get lucky. But Kodak was really just wasn't much of it. Was more shut down that game. As he was held for 441. It was just basically that big of a QB battle. And Seahawks went ahead. And they would wind up winning. And actually getting a good laugh, and well, it was just yeah. Either way, at this point, basically each MVP once they win it, they would go ahead and win up the Super Bowl. Next, and this one was just a killer. Season 5 saw V. Tyler take home the award after putting up a very, very, very good season. I mean, this he put up a very good season. And well, some people will just be wondering what happened. Like you'll be wondering what the heck happened. And that will go ahead and see differently as Tyler went and he had a good season, throwing 35 touchdowns against 13 interceptions. So he didn't. I mean, compared to the other QBs, he didn't really dominate well. But what helped him out a little bit was that he was a more efficient rusher, averaging 10.5 yards a carry and having 6 rushing touchdowns. Other than that, it was just basically it. He led the Panthers all the way to the Super Bowl, where he takes on a former MVP in Calvin 5. And the game just would end up being a freaking disaster. I'm sorry. In the end, Tyler went ahead and he fumbled the game away. And the Jaguars would win 35-13. So MVP luck didn't really turn out for him. So rip. So that's a bit of an F in the chat. Now the next MVP was basically in season 6 and was possibly one of the best offensive seasons in league history. Like, do not get me wrong. Like, this is one of the best offensive seasons in history. I mean, when you just look at how good these QBs, how the season was, it was that good. The MVP would go ahead and would go to Slant. And Slant actually played pretty good. And he actually deserved this MVP, to be fair. 98 catches, 1,844 yards, and 28 touchdowns. Those were basically records at the time. And he was and that helped too because he was working with a good QB. Like, this is basically arguably Pred's best season as a QB. So he helped Pred out to what was a good matchup. Well, that he even had some good guys to help him out some depth. Prince Tulip, KES Reg, lockups. I mean, you should already know. It was just even math joined later on. You know. And believe it or not, the Buccaneers advanced all the way to the NFC Championship game. But unfortunately, they had their hopes crushed as the Rams were ready to face off against them. And the Rams, they had former MVP Def ATL. They had their own good stock squad as well. Cam, True Raptor Claw, Zombs, Southside, aka Eddie. Basically, it was another good season. And Def went and he threw an impressive 67 touchdowns, but the picks, bro, yeah, the picks. In time, yeah, bro, I do not understand how Haley put up a good game like that. Well, according to this, in a week 9 matchup, which I fortunately couldn't find, he went and he threw an impressive 11 touchdowns against 8 interceptions. The Rams would go on to win against the Vikings, 72-66. Jesus breezes. I think that just might as well have been the highest scoring game in league history. Like, don't even cap about it. Like, you can't match that. Other than that, it was just basically the Rams would go ahead, and after defeating the Slats Bucks, would go on to the Super Bowl and defeat Dez and the Bills 42-30. So, yeah. Season 7 would go ahead and be different, as the MVP would go to Kyretra. Finally, his first MVP. And Kai actually went ahead and he put up a meaningful season. I mean, I cannot deny. Like, that season was literally a good one. I cannot lie. I cannot tell a lie. Kai went ahead and he put up an impressive season. And he had over 5,000 passing yards, 65 touchdowns against 14 picks. Basically, a season that Mahomes wish he can do, but I mean, the 5,000 yards passing he could probably get easily, but yeah. And it was a team that had lockups. They had Pat. I'm pretty sure even Sly was there. Kodak, Diligencies. It was possibly one of the best teams, and they even made the playoffs too. But the MVP luck just turned into an MVP curse, as they would go ahead and they would get upsetted, 38-32 by the Texans, led by former MVP V. Tyler. And what was basically, it was just a game that was arguably a good game. It was just, but like, bruh. I mean, you can argue it was just straight up. It was just Jacksonville went 9-1. It was just in the end, the Saints ended with them shaking their heads and saying, "What the hell just happened?" And well, I mean, you couldn't really deny it, but yeah. So, I mean, it kind of stung, but I think after a while, you're gonna go ahead and you have to go ahead and swallow that one up. Either way, Kyle. Either way, the Texans were going to make it to the Super Bowl, or they end up going ahead and losing this time. End up going ahead and losing to Reese and the 49ers off of the game-winning touchdown. Reese Tyler's probably watching this, hopefully. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of facts. Hopefully, don't kill me for this one, please. They're probably gonna kill me now. I'm so dead. Alright. The next season was a bit different, but I think it was a very good one as well. And that went ahead and saw season 8 happen. Now, the MVP that time, well, and again, in the season, that basically should have been Def ATL. I mean, first of all, Def's stats that season were just perfect. 62 touchdowns against 17 interceptions, over 4,800 passing yards, and even went 10-0. But the MVP ended up going to the 8-2, 53 touchdowns against 15 pick, 3,000 over 3,700 yard passer, and somewhat decent rusher, Beast QT. And Beast had a good team. I'm not gonna lie. Beast had some top. Was actually when he put up a somewhat okay season. But in the end, the man went ahead and even though he won Defensive Player of the Year, that ended in disaster. That ended up in disaster. I'm just sugarcoating this. It was just a disaster. As former MVP Pred will go ahead and just blow him out of the wild card 50-28. I'm sorry, but yeah, MVP curse. MVP curse. Season 9 was a season that the award should have gone ahead and could have gone to basically Mike Aviation, or it could have gone. But the true MVP should have gone to Kai Retro as he went and he ran for an impressive, basically He basically ran for pretty much a very much somewhat impressive. Well, rush didn't really rush. He actually caught 99 catches for 2,000 yards and 31 touchdowns, which is basically the record is set. You think that'll lock it up, right? Right. Well, unfortunately, wrong. The MVP would go ahead and go to Chugga, the tight end, and I honestly don't understand why. It's just 65 catches, 1,206 yards, and 11 touchdowns. I don't get how that's groundbreaking, but okay. Yeah, Chugga would go ahead and win MVP, and well, Zoetril gets Rookie of the Year, and Kyrich only got Wide Receiver of the Year, and didn't even get Offensive Player of the Year. Just that's suffering. That is suffering. Either way, Chugga and the Panthers go in ahead, and they ended up losing in the divisional round to the Giants, 20-22 in overtime on a game-winning touchdown catch by Kanzon. Either way, the Giants will go ahead and advance to the Super Bowl with the defeat former MVP Beast QT 32-20, and also will defeat Brees along the way. So kudos kudos. Season 10 Super Bowl. Well, season 10 was more recent, and this one was just totally deserved. On the kind of, we don't know. It's just the MVP. The MVP went to Finley's, who threw for over 5,000 passing yards, 61 touchdowns, against 11 interceptions. I mean, Kyrich had a better season, but honestly, I don't even know how you can really just compare that. It's just, but Finley went 10-0, Kyrich went 9-1, and please fair Reese likes to give MVPs to different people, so it's the first time. So yeah, Kyrich kind of got stunned out of MVP again, but to be fair, Finley's went ahead and he had a good season, so shout out to Finley's for going ahead and winning. Well, with that being said, Finley's had a very good squad around him. I mean, very good. If you were watching this now, I mean, they were just good as hell. Like, they were good as hell, bro. Like, I do not know. I can go ahead and you can argue that. Well, then, needless to say, Finley's 10-0 perfection team would end up going ahead and being knocked out 38-32 in the playoffs, as they were the top seed, by the Lord Pred and the Rams. And in which the Rams played what was recorded as a near perfect game. Not sure how you can really understand that, but okay. Rams will go ahead and make it to the NFC Championship game, lose to the Seahawks, but on a blowout again. And Kyrich ended up being the one and getting the last laugh, as he would go ahead and he get some revenge from that Season 8 Super Bowl loss from the Chargers, beating the Chargers, basically by a different score, so, yeah. So, yeah, that was basically the MVP thing. A thing that will turn out to be a blessing for 4 seasons, but it's been has turned opposite for the past 6. Who do you think is going to win MVP, and can this curse actually be broken? Let me know. Besides from that, this is Brown EC. I'll see y'all next time. Saddle up, saddle out. Peace out.